Have you ever met a couple that seemed like complete opposites? Like fire and water, always clashing. That was Clara and James. They were famous among their friends for their passionate, and let's be honest, frequent arguments. It felt like anything and everything could spark a debate. A single dirty plate left on the counter wasn't just a plate. It was a symbol of disrespect. The way James would leave his socks on the floor wasn't just messy. It was a personal attack on Clara's sense of order, even the seemingly trivial matter of which way the toilet paper roll should face could escalate into a full-blown courtroom drama in their living room. Their home was a constant battlefield of small, everyday annoyances. One evening, the familiar sounds of conflict filled their kitchen. A loud bang echoed as Clara slammed the cabinet door shut. "James, you left your coffee cup here again." Her voice was sharp, cutting through the quiet evening air. From the other room, James's voice shot back, defensive and irritated. "I'll get it later. Why are you always on my case about every little thing?" The silence that followed was heavy. They stood in the doorway, glaring at each other, their chests rising and falling with heavy breaths. The air was thick with unspoken frustrations, a familiar tension that had built up over days, weeks, and months of these little battles. It was a standoff, a moment where things could either explode or fizzle out. And then something shifted. It always did. Clara's eyes, which had been burning with anger just a moment before, softened. The hard lines of her face relaxed. "Wait," she said, her voice now barely a whisper, "before we go to bed. Let's just talk." James let out a long, weary sigh, the fight draining out of him. "Fine," he conceded, his own anger deflating. "Let's talk." They moved to the couch, their usual post-battle negotiation table. The tension in the room didn't vanish instantly, but it began to melt away like ice on a warm day. They sat for a moment, not speaking, just letting the quiet do its work. Clara was the first to break the silence. "I'm sorry," she began, looking at her hands. "I just get so frustrated because I care about our home, about us. I don't want to fight with you. I really don't. I just want us to be okay." Her vulnerability was an olive branch, an invitation for peace. James reached over and gently took her hand, his touch warm and reassuring. "I know," he said softly. "I get it. And I get defensive too. I guess all this arguing, it doesn't mean we don't love each other, right?" It was a question, but also a statement, a reaffirmation of the foundation beneath all the bickering. They realized in that moment that the fighting was just noise. The love was the music underneath it all. This became their unspoken rule, their sacred ritual. Every single night, no matter how loud the argument, no matter how heated the words, they found a way back to each other. They made peace before sleep could claim them. Sometimes it was a simple "I'm sorry." Other times it was a long, tight hug that said everything words couldn't often. They'd end up laughing at the sheer absurdity of what they were fighting about. "Can you believe we almost went to war over a toilet paper roll?" James would chuckle, and Clara would laugh with him, the anger completely forgotten. It was their secret weapon against resentment. They never allowed the sun to set on their anger, ensuring that each new day was a truly fresh start, unburdened by the previous day's conflicts. Years passed, friends watched them, amazed. They saw the fights, heard the raised voices, and couldn't understand how this fiery, volatile couple had not only survived but thrived. At a dinner party one night, a friend finally asked the question everyone was thinking: "How do you two do it? You fight more than any couple I know, yet you seem happier than anyone else." Clara looked over at James, a warm, knowing smile spreading across her face. She squeezed his hand and turned back to their friends. "It's simple," she said, her voice filled with a quiet confidence. "We fight, yes, we fight hard, but we love more. And the most important part, we forgive. We forgive every single night, no matter what." Their love wasn't about avoiding storms. It was about learning to dance in the rain together and always finding shelter in each other's arms before the night was over. What do you think is the most important part of a long-lasting relationship? Let me know in the comments below. And if this story resonated with you, Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more stories about the incredible complexities of love and life. Thanks for watching.